What's up, guys? Brian Ellwood. So in this video, I'm going to teach you guys simply how I would pitch a private money lender if I was sitting down with somebody and I wanted them to loan me money so I could buy rental properties, okay? I do this pretty often. It's not super difficult. However, if you haven't done it before, I know that you're scared about it or nervous. I totally was too, okay? In my first attempts at this, my voice was shaking and I had no idea what to say. But once you do it, it gets easier just like anything. So let me give you some tips on how to do this to be more successful at it. So the first tip I would say is that if you're sitting down with a private money lender, rather than just go into your pitch, right? A better way to do it would be to give them examples of other private money loans that you've done. If you haven't done one yet, don't worry, you don't have to do this, okay? But even if you know somebody who's done it, or you can use me as an example, you can say my coach does this all the time, and here's what it looks like when he does it. But really, examples help a lot, because then they say, oh, okay, so Peter Smith, he loaned you $50K on a house. He got his money back in 18 months. He got 8%. You know, he loaned 70% loan to value on the house down in that neighborhood that I know. That is helpful for people. Everyone, just like you, learns better from examples than they do from just defining things and getting scientific with it, right? Everyone wants an example so that they can really understand what someone's talking about. So if you have any examples of where you've done this in the past, tell them about those, specifically what happened with the house, the loan, the terms and everything, and they'll grasp it. Also, give them references. So if you've done loans with other people, just ask those other people, hey, would it be okay if I had this other guy who wants to lend me money? Could he call you just to make sure that I'm legit? That makes them feel good. I'll also introduce them to my title attorney, right? So that they can meet the person who does the legal paperwork and make sure that everything's above board and that I'm going to do what I'm going to say. And if I don't, they could foreclose on me, etc. It'd be good, for them to talk to whoever your title agent is going to be, who's going to draw up your deed of trust, just so that they can kind of put their mind at ease. Another thing that I'll do is show them houses that, I potentially would get money loaned on, okay? So the other day I met a guy and sat down for coffee with him, and we talked about private money lending. And, he wasn't really ready to do it right that moment, but he was interested. And I had a rehab going on about 20 or 30 minutes from his house that I had already borrowed money on from some other lender. I just shot him the address and the lockbox code, and I said, yeah, go on down there and walk through this house if you want. You can check out this other deal that I'm currently doing with this other guy, and then you kind of can get a feel for what this looks like, because you can walk through the house that's similar to one you're probably going to loan on if we do business together. So you're involving them. And then when the deal comes along with when I'm going to actually ask that guy for money, I'm going to, again, tell him the address, let him go over there, let him get inside, so he can see what's my money going into, right? And then, of course, lastly, you want to just explain the actual process to them. So what I'll say is, so Mr. Smith, what I usually do is I buy rental properties, and they generally cost $60,000. So I come to someone like you. I ask for that money. I usually want it out for at least a year or more. And then I pay 6 to 12%, just kind of depending on what terms we come to, on what points you want, what term you want, how long do you want your money to be gone. So you don't want to just say right out of the gate, I pay 9%, because he might do it for 6%, right? So I usually say 6 to 9. I actually don't say 6 to 12. I say 6 to 9, I think would be good. And then if they absolutely want more than 9, they have to tell you that, right? So yeah, I'll tell them that. I'll give them the general terms, and then I show them a deal. That's pretty much it, guys. I tell them that, once we agree to do the deal, that it all gets drawn up by my title attorney. They do a deed of trust. They record it at the county courthouse. So there's legally a lien on the property in the name of the lender, and his or her name is also added to the insurance policy. And they can do it in an LLC or their personal name, right? And they're added to insurance. So if something happens, they're not going to be liable or anything like that. They're going to be covered. And then, I make regular payments to them. And then if I don't pay them, then they can foreclose. They, because that deed of trust is recorded, they have a lien on the property. They can say, Brian, you didn't pay me. Basically, if someone has a lien on your property, you can't sell it without clearing that lien, right? So their equity is protected by that lien. They're in first position, right? So and I usually put in the paperwork that I won't get any other mortgages. So they're the only lien holder that can exist on the property. And then, I just tell them, I've never had anyone foreclose on me before, but if that were to happen, you'd take the property back. And I tell them, if the house is worth 70, I'm only going to ask you for maybe 40 or 50. That way you've got some equity, some room in there in between what you loaned me and what it's worth. So if, you have to take it back, you're taking something that's worth 70 back, but you only loaned me 45, right? So you can make $25,000 right out of the gate. And that's really the secret sauce about this, guys, is that, you watch crazy shows like American Greed, right, where some dude got $10 million from members of the congregation of his church because he told them that he had an investment opportunity, and they just believed him. It's such BS, right? Like, these loans are literally backed by a specific piece of property recorded, with attorneys, with the government, at the courthouse, with liens. The terms are spelled out in the deed of trust. You have to pay them exactly what was agreed upon, or they inherit an asset that is worth way more than what they loaned. So really the worst thing that can happen to them is you pay them on time. Like, some of these lenders actually want you to default because they want to take that house back and make 20 or 30 grand real quick and inherit a house that's rented out and renovated. It would be good for them for me to default and not pay them back. It's another reason why I never do it, is because I'd lose a bunch of money. But the main reason I don't do it is because I don't want to go back on my word. I told them I'd pay them. That was the agreement. And so, if you can learn to flip it in your head and be like, this is really a good opportunity for people. They're getting a fixed interest payment every month, and their principal is backed by a real asset. I tell them, my car's worth 20 grand. If I asked you to loan me 10 grand and I told you that if I didn't pay you back, you could have my car, that'd be a safe deal for you, right? Because the car is worth 20 and I only borrowed 10. So your 10 is protected by the value of the car, which is higher. Now, obviously, it's not the perfect example. I could drive my car off a cliff, right? But with houses, you can't move them. They're insured. They're stationary, right? You know where it is. I really think this is a great investment for people. In fact, when I have millions sitting around, I may switch to just doing private money loans instead of buying more rentals because it's, one of the easiest ways to make money. Lots of really rich, successful multimillionaires that I've been able to meet do this regularly. And that's some of the guys who loan me money. So this is a really savvy and safe way for people to make a pretty good interest rate on their money. It definitely outperforms the stock market. And so that's basically my pitch, guys. I tell them all that. I give them examples. I show them references. I let them meet the title attorney. I let them see the house. And then I follow up. And if they say no, I say, all right. And another deal comes along. I tell them, hey, I got another one. If they say no again, I might find another lender who says yes and then send the story to them afterwards. Here's that one that you passed on. Here's how it went. I just want to let you see this. And then they might say, dang, I probably should have loaned on that. It looks like it went really well. because a lot of these guys are just getting over their fears. They've never done it before. But it's really like almost a foolproof investment opportunity. So you don't have to be a great salesman to sell this to somebody, but you do have to practice your pitch. So go out there, practice it, screw it up a few times, get your first deal. You'll get way more confident about this and your ability to deliver. And then from there, the sky's the limit, guys. So hope that helps. And if you have questions, post them in the Facebook group. Peace.